Hello and welcome to Kai Watches Gilmore Girls, the show where I sit and watch Gilmore Girls for the very first time and I document my entire experience while doing it. Today we are focusing on Season 5, Episode 11, Women of Questionable Morals. My friends, let's get right into it. If you are enjoying this series right here, or if you like this video, or if you're just a fan of Gilmore Girls, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and please be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you're going to be the first person to know when I put out an episode review about Gilmore Girls, about anything that I do here on my channel. So make sure you hit that button. You're not going to regret it. And if you like Gilmore Girls merch, if you want to start wearing some of your favorite quotes and moments from the show, visit my website, thevibewithkai.com, and then click on merchandise, and then you can get your shirts, your hats, your aprons, your sweaters, whatever you want. It is all there, and it is currently on sale. Ladies and gentlemen, just go visit thevibewithkai.com. It is all there for you right now. And last but certainly not least, if you enjoy looking at me, if you enjoy the face, the mug that you see right here in front of you, you can follow me on all of your favorite social media platforms. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at The Vibe with Kai, where I'm always posting things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. My friends, let's get down to business. Season 5, Episode 11, Women of Questionable Morals. This episode aired January 25th, 2005, 16 years ago. Oh, man. I was in my senior year of high school. That's where I was. I think I probably had just gotten back from winter break. Well, I guess no. I guess we were a couple weeks into school after winter break. My senior year of high school, the year that I graduated. I graduated a couple months later. So it's really interesting to sit here and watch a TV show that was pretty much in its heyday while I was a senior in high school. And a lot of my friends were watching the show, but I was not. I was not watching the show at all. But here we are. I'm watching it now as a 34-year-old man. Here we go. This episode starts off where we have Lorelai saying, I can smell the snow. I smell snow. It is coming." Luke is a much better boyfriend than I am, than I have ever been. Because let me tell you, if my girlfriend or significant other woke me up in the middle of the night to go outside in the freezing cold for snow that wasn't even on the forecast, let me tell you, I probably wouldn't be the happy guy. I would be a grumpy Luke. She might as well just call me Luke because I don't think I would be a happy guy in this instance. And Luke definitely was not a happy guy in this instance. But it doesn't matter what we want, fellas, right? It's all about the lady. She was happy. Look at the smile on her face right now. She is so genuinely happy, which is very important for this episode because she ends up getting into a little love-hate relationship with Snow in this episode. But this is her smiling, looking at the snow, and Luke being like, okay, I'm going to go back inside where it's a little bit warmer. We then have our reenactors getting together to discuss how things are going to go this year, because in Stars Hollow history, obviously, for those of you that don't know, obviously Stars Hollow is a fictional town. It is not real. However, they wanted to, I guess, insert a little bit of real world historical moments that they've created in this show. And Taylor tells the really funny story about how the British were about to attack. And I'm going to totally mess up this story, so I apologize. I know a lot of you, as I'm telling the story, I already know a lot of you are going to be like, that's not what he said. So I already know I messed up way before I even told the story. But anyway, so Taylor tells the story that in Stars Hollow history, during the Revolutionary War, the British were coming to attack the United States, and there was a person that was in town that they needed to distract, and so they at the beginning of every first snowfall every year, they reenact the moment where the distraction took place, and that distraction played a pivotal role in the war. In the war against the British. In this distraction, they say that a woman who I guess was attractive used her attractiveness to distract a person to the point that it assisted with with winning the battle or the potential battle or war or something like that. I already know I messed up this story. Don't yell at me, but those of you that are watching right now, you already know the story, so you already get what I'm getting at. But what's funny here is that they're talking about how they need to find a female, I'm sorry, a woman, I apologize, to tell this to help reenact this story. And so they say this really weird thing, or Taylor does. He refers to women as our fairer sex, which I think is just a little weird, just a tad to refer to women that way. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But they're discussing how they're going to go about doing that, and of course, later on in this scene, Lorelai, who slept over Luke's that night, comes down the stairs, and they are 100% in agreement that perhaps it should be Lorelai that is going to be the one that plays this role. To which Luke was like, "Please don't walk around them too sexily, because they're going to get the wrong idea." This was the best part of the episode. Not specifically this scene, even though this scene was very good, but just these two in general. Those of you that know me, you know I am not the biggest fans of Richard and Emily, right? But I enjoyed them in this episode. I really did. I really did enjoy them in this episode. I liked the dog. The dog, played a factor. I feel like it humanized them a little bit. And I know I get a lot of slack from people that feel as though I got called a classist in my previous video because of the way I guess I feel about people in the upper class, and like honestly, it's not my intention to offend anybody or to come off as classist. It's just in my experience, I have never been able to relate to any stories or any people that are in a class or two above me because of how I was raised and where I am in life right now. And that's nothing against them. People like Logan and Richard and Emily, and even Rory, in a way. They live in a different world than I am, and that's not their fault. It's not Rory's fault that she comes from money. It's not Richard and Emily's fault that they have as much money as they want to do with what they want. Right? It's not their fault. My point is that I was never really able to relate to them. So if I ever come across as classist, I do apologize. It's not really my intention to knock anybody for their financial worth. But with that being said, I really did enjoy Richard and Emily in this episode. I felt that this episode kind of grounded them in a way. I feel like it kind of grounded them when we have this dog here that is, hello, roommate lady. I feel like this episode kind of grounded them a little bit. It gave them a nice little side story. And what's really important here, and we'll get into this later, what's super duper important here is the fact that, don't forget, at this point, Richard and Emily are still not really talking to each other. Richard is still living out in the very nice house that's in the back of their house, and Emily is still living in the main portion of the house, and they're not really talking to each other. But it becomes clear in this episode that they like miss each other and that they want to see each other, and that they found this common denominator that they like, which is this dog in this episode. So I really enjoyed them in this episode. So I want to make sure that I put that out there, that I like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Richard and Emily, but I will always point out the moments that I feel that Richard and Emily are a little bit more just humanized, I guess. And I don't mean that as in rich people aren't human. I mean that as in, like, I can find a reason to relate to them. So yeah, that's we'll get more into that in a bit. Okay, so in this scene right here, we have, I'm gonna make my screen a little smaller here. There you go. We have Christopher comes to visit Rory at school. Now, this is another thing that is a very touchy subject when it comes to Gilmore Girls. And I know that a lot of people are triggered by Christopher's actions, or sometimes lack thereof of actions, right? A lot of people feel that Christopher is a terrible father. Why? Because Christopher was out of Rory and Lorelai's life for a significant amount of time. Now, that's not to say that Rory and that's not to say that Christopher didn't mess up. I'm on record by saying that Christopher messed up, obviously, right? Well, it was just an incredible, unfortunate situation. When Lorelai got pregnant, Lorelai is the one that ran away, right? Lorelai is the one that wanted to get away. Christopher didn't really do much to come back into their life for about 16, 17 years. And so I get it why people can be triggered by that, because that is a real life situation that, can be very traumatic for people, not just single moms, but single dads as well, in this instance. But everything with that being said, like, I'm not saying that he's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect character. There's no such thing as a perfect person at all. But one of the things that I kind of get knocked on a lot, while watching Gilmore Girls, is the fact that I don't mind Christopher. I really I really don't, and I think that a lot of people, not a lot of people, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people sometimes will just think that when I say that I like Christopher, that means that their opinion of Christopher is wrong. And that's not true. Anybody, like, you're allowed to have whatever opinion that you want about Christopher. Christopher he's a triggering guy. He's a very triggering guy. He's a triggering character that can bring back a lot of traumatic imagery for people. For me personally, and once again, my opinion of Chris does not mean that your opinion of Chris is wrong. I just want to reiterate that, or that it's not significant by any means, because your opinion is 100% your opinion, and I understand why you feel the way you feel about Christopher. But for me, I like the fact that Christopher, ever since I started watching this, Christopher has tried, right? He's not perfect by any means. Lord knows he has things to work on. So does every other character in this show. But I like the fact that he is trying so hard. Let's just recap, a couple different things. Um, I do find it interesting, and I mentioned this in a previous video, that a lot of the audience doesn't forgive Christopher. But it seems as though, especially in this episode, with what we find out what happened here is that Lorelai and Rory, in a way, have forgiven Christopher, but the audience hasn't. Not everybody, but a lot of the audience hasn't. And a lot of people say, "Oh, Christopher is a bad father," but I honestly don't think that either Rory or Lorelai feel that way, especially at the end of this episode, right? And so it really does make me wonder, what people think about that. Now, once again, like, let me just reiterate again, because I already know, I can already hear your keyboards typing about your thoughts on this, and I really do appreciate your insight here and all of that. I just hope that you hear me out. That I really like that Christopher showed up here. I saw when I posted my recap on TikTok, a couple people were saying that what Christopher did here by just showing up is obsessive. It is um, not a good thing to do. Um, and I don't know if that. I mean, I get if people feel that that's a bad idea. I totally get that, but I don't know. I just really appreciated it, because not only is this his I mean, not his only daughter, but not only is this a child of his that he's trying to reach out to and all of that, but he's tried before, and Lorelai has either not told Rory that he's reached out, or there's been times when Rory told Christopher to stay away, and things like that, which he complied with in a way until Lorelai called, and he needed help with his daughter, with Gigi, I believe her name is. I don't know. I just really appreciated the fact that he's trying. I feel like we have to make a decision here. Some people are like, Christopher is never there, but then we'll get upset when he is there, when he's trying. I feel like we can't have it both ways. He's either there or he's not. Is he flaky? Yes, of course. He has a history of being flaky, but every piece of information that I've seen so far in this series up to this point, he's tried. Is he perfect? No, but he's tried. He's tried a lot. I love this scene here between Richard and Emily because apparently Emily has never surfed the internet before, ever, like in her life. So having Richard explain how the internet works and how she can go through and visit websites and all of the information about whatever she wants to find is right there. I really, once again, I love how this episode kind of humanizes them a little bit. I really appreciated that. In this scene, Richard goes to, I believe the website is dogbreed411.com. So I wanted to know if that was a real website. I typed in dogbreed411.com and it brought me to chewy.com, which is a online e-commerce website where people can buy products for their dogs, and food and toys and stuff like that. I found that very interesting. So Rory, when Christopher first shows up, Rory tells him to go away. She has because she has class and all that. Christopher waits around and he meets up with her after class, and he pretty much says to her in this moment, "Look, I don't want us to have a bad relationship like I had with my father. I don't want you to visit me because you have to. I want you to visit me because you want to, because you love me, because you want to see me." And I just, if that's not him trying, I don't know what is. I really don't know what is. Like I said, let me one. I'm gonna reiterate this every single time that I say this. If anybody that thinks that Christopher is a bad person, I totally get it. That is your thoughts, and I respect your opinion 100%. I just personally don't see it. I haven't seen that from him so far about him being a bad father since we first met him at I think it was like towards the middle or end of the first season or whatever it was. I like that he's like I want to have a good relationship with you, Rory. You mean a lot to me. I haven't been there, but I'm trying my best here, and I want to have a good relationship with you. And what he doesn't mention, well, he mentions that his father is sick, but he doesn't mention like really the extent of it. But that comes into play a little bit later. Here we have Taylor auditioning people for the role of the town lady for the reenactment. And in here, number 3, you're going to see that woman there. That is Renee Bell, who plays the role of Lulu, who will soon be on my podcast. Her and we've been going back and forth. We're trying to find a good date for both her and I to sit and chat. It's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon. We've been working really, really hard to find time to sit and talk about all things Gilmore Girls. So I'm looking forward to meeting up with Renee Bell. In this scene, Taylor plays the role of every community theater director that I've ever worked with in my life. I appreciate his need for I guess perfection here. His need for um, genuine characters playing the role that he's looking to cast here. This is, if you've never done a community theater production before in your life, this is pretty much how it goes. I also, the person that's not pictured here is Kirk. Kirk is in the room while this is all going down, and he has some really funny moments, especially when he's trying to coach Lulu on how to get the role. By the way, can we take a look at Lulu's outfit? By the way, well, actually, no. Let's take a look at all of their outfits here. Let's look at all of their outfits here. All of these were bold choices by every single person in this room. I'm not talking about on the upper left-hand side here. I'm talking about the lower right-hand side. All the people that are auditioning. Look at these outfits. Good Lord. And like, don't say this is a product of its time. I was alive in 2005. I don't remember anybody wearing stuff like this. But maybe it's just where I grew up. Maybe that's how they roll in Connecticut or New England and that whole area. But this is a bold choice. A bold choice, and I mean, I'm not making fun of the costumes because I love the fact that this is the style of the show, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that wholeheartedly. In this scene, we get I included this photo because we get a lot of Richard and Emily in this episode, and though it may not seem like it in this screenshot, we get like little glimpses of Emily and Richard wanting to maybe rekindle the love that was once there, and I appreciated that. It's not really evident from this picture, but I included it just so we can talk about it. That it's a really cool moment between those two. This is a good time to remind you that I do have a podcast, the Vibe with Kai podcast, where I don't just talk about Gilmore Girls. I talk about a lot of different things, but every now and then I'll dedicate an episode to Gilmore Girls, where I've actually interviewed a couple cast members and crew members from the show. As you can see here, I interviewed Shelley Cole, who played Madeline on Gilmore Girls. I've interviewed John Cabrera, who played Brian on Gilmore Girls. I've interviewed Valerie Campbell, who was the key set costumer for Gilmore Girls. Pretty soon, I'm going to be interviewing a bunch of other people, both in the cast and the crew. I'm working on getting those set up as we speak. I'm super excited about that. But all this entire podcast, not just about Gilmore Girls, it's about just good vibes and living a good life full of good vibes in general. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you want. It is all there. So Lorelai's love of snow, she's definitely in a love-hate relationship in this episode because in this, what we kind of skipped over is that she had really bad run-ins with the snow in this episode. So a lot of cancellations at her inn. I believe she like either like broke a heel or she had, something happen with her shoe in the snow. And obviously now she woke up and she's snowed in. Thank God Luke is here to assist here. If you ever, I mentioned my podcast before. If anything, go back and if you listen to any podcast, especially for this moment right here, go and listen to my interview with Valerie Campbell. Valerie Campbell, who's the key set costumer for the show, she talks about the process of the snowmaking for these scenes. Because what you don't realize, and some of you obviously know this already, but like this show is filmed in Southern California. It is not filmed in New England during the winter at all. So while they're filming this, it's probably about 70, 80 degrees outside, number one. Number two, this is all fake snow. And she talks about the process that the poor crew had to go through to not only put all of the snow there, but also to make it look realistic, depending on how fresh or the snow is or how long it's been sitting there. But they also also talks about the process of cleaning it up, because at the end of the day, like the set is still the same. They didn't build a new set for the snow. No, this is the same exact set, and they have to clean it all up after they're finished with it. So I found that very very interesting. Don't mind me, by the way. For those, if you're looking at me on the upper right hand side of the screen here, I did turn around. I am turning around to check the score of the. I'm recording this as I'm watching the Brooklyn Nets versus Milwaukee Bucks game. So don't mind me as I'm turning around and just looking at the score. I'm a huge basketball fan for those of you that don't know. So we have Rory and Lorelai coming to visit Richard and Emily and their dog in this, and look how Emily is just so comfortable with this dog. I mean, and we'll get into this in a second. I felt for her later because she really connected with this dog, which was surprising because when she first met the dog, not she wasn't a fan. She was frightened, and when she called Richard, she made it seem as though Godzilla was outside on the front lawn. However, it was just this gorgeous dog, which they don't know whether it's a male or female. They kind of go back and forth throughout the episode, determining whether it's a male dog or a female dog, which is funny. So we find out that Christopher, his father, has passed. So in the past, what 3 or 4 episodes, we found out that not only has Christopher's father passed, but his wife, or not his wife, but his significant other, the mother of his child, has left, bounced, like gone, and left him with the child, and he's now a single dad. So his significant other left him. He's a single dad now, and his father died. Christopher's going through a lot. He's going through a lot, and I honestly I feel for him, and so does Rory, and so does Lorelai. And I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm an empath. I'm just such an empath, and I just felt for him, so much. I'm the kind of person, like, people mess up. There are things that my father has done. There are things that I have done. There are things that people that I'm close with have done that are are unapologetic, right? Where I just, like, there's no way that I can accept their apology, right? And I get that aspect of it because sometimes people do things that are just messed up. But for me, I always appreciate it when I see somebody genuinely remorseful. Maybe it's me. And he just seems genuinely remorseful. I think he's learned a lot in this season. I think he's grown a lot in this season just as a person because now he knows what it's like to be a single parent. He's lost somebody. Look at Chris now in comparison to when we first met him, when he couldn't even afford to buy Rory anything from the bookstore. Remember when his credit card got declined? And now look at him. He has this gorgeous house. He's able to afford, a babysitter, like, all the time while he's working. Um, he has a great job, I'm assuming, and he's doing so much work to try to repair his relationship with his daughter. I don't know. That's growth to me. Maybe it's me, and if I'm missing something, please tell me I'm wrong. But, like, you want to talk about a character arc? The Christopher that we see in this episode and the Christopher that we saw in season one, tell me they're the same person and that there wasn't growth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me. And I guess I have a benefit because, like, I'm watching this show with a magnifying glass, right? And I think a lot of people, will just, be like, oh, Chris stinks, because that's just, you know how they view Chris. But, like, to me, he's had one of the biggest character growths in that I've seen so far. There's not many characters that I can look at in this series and say they're a completely different person than season one. Think about it. There's not a lot of characters that I can say that for. I can't say that for Richard and Emily. I can say that for Rory. I think Rory has grown. I think Lorelai has grown a bit. Lane has definitely grown. Luke has his moments, but Luke is generally still the same as he was in season one in a way. I think his time with Jess, and being a father figure for him taught him a lot. I think his marriage and divorce taught him a lot. There's not too many characters that I can say had as significant of growth as Christopher. That's just my opinion. That's not me saying that you're wrong. That's just my personal opinion. By the way, I'm looking at the score right now. It is 84 to 83 Milwaukee. There is 2.8 seconds left in the game, and I think Milwaukee has the ball. So I think that the Bucks are going to. None of you care about this, but but I think Milwaukee has the ball, and they're about to pass the ball in. And if there's 2.8 seconds left, and if they can get the ball in and run time off the clock, then they'll win the game. Okay, I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win the game. Okay, okay. So this scene is really important because something happens here that kind of catches me by surprise. In this scene right here, so what I failed to mention is that when Lorelai went to go visit Christopher to give her condolences, she brought, like, this bottle of alcohol, and she ended up getting drunk with Christopher. Nothing happened, but she ended up getting drunk with Christopher and, you know staying a while. Nothing happened, nothing bad happened, but But what ends up happening here is that Luke says, "Hey, you look bad," and she's like, "Oh, I have a headache," and he's like, "Oh, what were you up all night or something like that?" And then Rory lies and says, "Oh, she was with me." Why did they lie to Luke? Now, I wouldn't think much about this. I would just be like, "Oh, you know what? It's not a big deal." But later on in the episode, Lorelai doubles down. Because at first I was like, well, you know what? Technically, Lorelai didn't lie. Technically, it was Rory that, for some reason, told this white lie. I don't know why they couldn't just say. And I think and Lorelai questions that too. She's like, "Why am I lying to Luke?" This is not the first time that she's lied to Luke, by the way, about Christopher, which I find very interesting. I'm curious if that's going to become like an overall thing. They have really bad communication, Luke and Lorelai. They really do. They really do. I like them. I still ship them 100%. But good lord, Luke and Lorelai have really bad communication. But yeah, Rory tells this really white lie, and I'm curious why. Why would she do that? Why would you do that, Rory? This is the best scene in the entire episode where we get Taylor and and Kirk, who's filling in for Lulu, who was cast in this role, but something happened where Kirk had to stand in. And you know what, Kirk, you're looking kind of cute, buddy. You're looking kind of cute. Um, he he looks good. I need to ask Valerie about this outfit and his makeup here. I'm gonna Valerie, if you're listening, I'm gonna ask you about this because this was great. This was really funny. I loved it. I'm glad it happened to Taylor and Kirk. That was a really funny moment. In this scene, this is when Richard tells Emily that they found the owners of the dog. So the dog has been returned to their owner, and Emily is like, "Oh, I grew quite fond of that dog." And they just have a moment here between those two, and then like they gather their senses, and she leaves. But you can tell that there's like a little bit of Richard and Emily that miss each other here, and they miss what they had, and I appreciated that. I thought that was a really good moment. Brilliant acting between these two. He bought her. I'm sorry. He built her an ice rink. Built it. Oh my goodness. I wrote I wrote one of the jokes that I put in my TikTok. I said that I hope that my future girlfriend, whoever she is, I hope that she doesn't watch this episode of Gilmore Girls because there's no way I'd be able to build an ice rink at all. There's no way I'd be able to do that. And people are like, "Oh, it's easy. It's easy to build an ice rink. All you gotta do is do." No, there's no way. I would find a way to mess it up. How would do people smooth it out? And not only like no, I can't. There's no way. There's no way I could do that. I know it seems easy in like thought, but I don't think it's as easy as people made it out to be. At least not for me. There's no way. But let's talk about what happened. So let me just say, obviously, I think it's adorable that Luke built Lorelai this ice rink. I thought it was great, like really really sweet. And this is the really interesting part with this scene, though, is that Luke says to Lorelai, "Hey, at the diner, I knew you were lying to me," and he knew she was lying, but she lied again and did not tell Luke that she was at Christopher's. And that's when I was like, okay, why are they doing this? Because at first I was like, well, technically Lorelai didn't lie, Rory did, and Lorelai just didn't say anything, which is kind of bad, but I was willing to let it slide. But then she did it again. She had the chance to tell Luke straight up what was going on, and she did it. And I thought that was really interesting. And I'm curious if that's going to become a thing. I don't know. Obviously, this is the first time I'm ever watching the show, but I found that to be very very interesting, and I'm curious to see if that becomes a thing. So, what did I think of the episode, my friends? What did I think of this episode, my friends? I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was a filler episode, but it was one of the better filler episodes that I've seen. I really enjoyed it. It had some very cute moments. I liked what went on between Richard and Emily. I liked the Christopher dynamic between Rory and Christopher and Lorelai. I loved that aspect of it. I loved Kirk and Taylor and Lulu and the whole reenactment, especially the three kids that were narrating the entire thing. I thought that was hilarious. This was a really good episode. Really good episode. Nothing that really pushed the plot forward, but it gave us some nice moments that we don't see from characters often. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So congrats to season 5 episode 11. Probably my favorite filler episode that I've seen in quite some time. With that said, if you enjoyed this breakdown right here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you're going to be kept up to date whenever I post a recap here on YouTube, not just of Gilmore Girls, but of any TV show that I'm watching or anything that I put up. And if you like me, you can follow me on all of your favorite social media platforms. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at The Vibe with Kai, where I'm always posting things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. And as always, my friends, I appreciate you more than you will ever know. Visit my website, thevibewithkai.com, where you can get more information about me and everything that I do in my crazy, crazy life. With that said, my friends, thank you so much for watching. As always, God bless and good vibes.